Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. I'm going solo today, except for my buddy, the new Rex over here. It's going to keep me company for the next half hour. And we're going to go over some announcements, some movie reviews, and some top 5 lists. Okay? But first, I want to go to the website. Last time, we were both in a way people didn't have a good chance to actually look at it the way it's supposed to be. And the main reason I'm showing this is because we have one more show in June. And we fall on 4th of July. We won't be able to do that. It's short because the studios will be closed. So because of that, we have one show in July. So what's going to happen in between, the website, the blog, and the radio shows are going to be taking over. Okay? So let's start with the website. If you go, is that the website or is that the, yes, that's the website. If you scroll on top, if you go to the top of the page, you'll see a bunch of little buttons, icons in the right-hand corner. You can follow me on Facebook, on Twitter. I'm putting up new pictures of on Flickr, Google Plus page. I forget what the other ones are, but just take a look at all the buttons, and the links are also on the on the rest of the page, and also it gives you all the show dates. And on top of that, if you go to the other pages, you will see live media, and I already got videos that has been posted on YouTube. That's also one of the icons up there. And let's go to the next one. That's also, it will give you the schedule of all the shows I'm doing MNN. Now let's go to the next page, which would be the blogger page. They both connect to each other, the blogger and the website. So whichever one you get to first, you'll be able to get to the other page. This page is important because this is where the radio shows are. On the right-hand corner is the radio shows. Those are the widgets. I have one on Blog Talk Radio and the other one on Talk Show Radio. Talk Show Radio is going to be a live show. Like I said, I won't be on for a couple of weeks. We have one more show in 2 weeks, and after that, right through July 4th, we won't be back on to the end of July. These radio shows are going to be taking over. Talk Show is going to be a live chat, and I'll be taking phone calls. Okay? That's what that Talk Show Radio is about. And the Blog Talk Radio is basically a half-hour show like this. Except you won't see me. You'll hear me talking. And it's in conjunction with the blog. Every day I find the best news clips of videos and artwork, whatever. And I post it on a daily basis. And that's what the talk show, Blog Talk Radio is about. And last but not least, we have a Godzilla community. That's something I set up last year. We went from a couple hundred, we're up to 1,700. Of course, by coincidence, Jurassic World is coming out. Dinosaurs, okay. And the origin of Godzilla, of course, he was a dinosaur. But he got an honorary citizen of Japan award, believe it or not. So Godzilla is an ambassador of Japan. That happened. I guess if you scroll down a bit, let's see if we can find that. He's somewhere in there. That article is down there somewhere. Let's see if we can scroll down a little bit more. Maybe it's all the way down there somewhere. Oh, there we go. It's right there, right in the middle. Okay, right. Follow the little hand going around in circles there. Godzilla is an official citizen of Japan. Now this is 1,700 members. We got a bunch of moderators. So what they do, they basically have taken over the page. I set it up last year, and sometimes I post things, but this community, they really love their Godzilla. You see original drawings, clips, posters. They take snapshots of video games. There's a new video game of Godzilla coming out, a PlayStation, and these are all the fans posting things. So you want to be part of this community, you have to join Google Plus, though. That's the only catch. And then you just join the community button up on top, and you can be part of that. I'm really proud of this website because this community is tight. Let me tell you, they don't mess around. You got the set and rules up there in the right-hand corner, how to behave yourself. And the moderators, they're constantly changing that picture up in the right-hand corner. I had one picture there for a good couple of weeks. They got bored with it. They took over and they put their own picture there. But that's what the community is about. So if you're a Godzilla fan or interested in that, just join the community and say hello to everybody. Okay, that takes care of that. Now, let's get to some box office here. Okay, the picture I want everybody to see was Mad Max. And it has internationally cleared $300 million. Looks like we're going to get a sequel, finally. That's good. Some good news. And of course, that's still at number 4. The main reason I'm saying this because I'm very surprised Fast Furious 7, or Furious 7 they're calling it, it's supposed to be like number 4. How did it get up there? Okay, I mean, not everybody in China knows Paul Walker. Okay, everybody says, oh, because Paul Walker passed away in the accident. Nah. I mean, the thing with that is there's a lot more box office opening in China. They're opening up a lot of theaters, also in Latin America, believe it or not. The U.S. box office really doesn't count that much anymore. I mean, that's what happened with Fury 7. And it's actually only about 12 million away for take over the third spot of the Avengers 1, the original. And right now, Avengers Ultron is at number 6. Pretty soon, the new James Bond Spectre is going to be in the top 10. We're going to find out how Jurassic World is going to do. Would that beat the $1 billion mark? And would it be in the top 10? It looks that way. And of course, the big news at the end of the year, Star Wars. Will it beat Titanic and Avatar in the top 2? The main reason I'm saying Fury 7 is at number 4, 12 million away from Avengers number 3. It's pretty obvious that Star Wars is going to be Fury 7 in the box office, okay? So it's just a matter of how long will it take for it to beat Titanic and Avatar. I mean, everything's pointing in that direction. And this is the first time, I've been doing this show for almost 25 years. This is the first time I've seen at least 4 movies hitting the top 10 all-time international box office. This has never happened. Usually maybe 1 or 2. I think Lord of the Rings, and I forget what other picture, a couple years ago. And this is the first time 4 major big ones. It could be 5 if Jurassic World cracks that $1 billion mark. So I find that very interesting. The whole box office scenery has changed. U.S. is not that important compared to the rest of the planet. Like I said, the people. I'm answering a question. People said, why are these movies all getting into the $1 billion mark? China has opened the box office. A movie like that can hit 300-400 million easily. Now Latin America is catching up. They're opening up theaters all over the place. I believe I posted an article about that on our blog site. You can go check that out. But okay, this weekend, Mad Max is claiming the 300 million. How about comedies? No comedy really has hit big time, except Pitch Perfect number 2. How did that break the $100 million mark? That's already going to pass $150 million. Well, what's going to happen with Melissa McCarthy's Spy? That's going to be a curious question. Will she have another hit on the end? Another $150 million. Got good reviews, and I just want to mention this because Jason Statham was in there. He's doing he did that whole Jimmy Fallon skit with a big hand slapping across your face, and they mentioned him about an article that he got interviewed that he wouldn't mind being the next James Bond, and people said, "Oh, relax there, buddy. Okay, you're a little bit too short for that." But then again, Daniel Craig is not all that tall. But they've been offering him a role on Daredevil as Bullseye. Remember Mark in the last show, he was really talking a lot about how great Daredevil is. I personally still haven't seen it. I got to catch up on it. But Jason Statham has been offered to do Bullseye. The thing is, TV money is completely different from movie money. Okay, and that's why he got to be so big and popular, because the transport. He did three movies. Now he's an international film star, and he gets movie money, which means he can get paid anywhere from $5 to $10 million. How would that work out with a TV contract? TV contracts are usually maybe you get a couple million, but it'd be spread out because of syndication and points and DVD sales and Blu-ray sales. So that would take a good couple of years. Compare where he can do a movie like Spy and get $5 million up front. So would he do TV? That's the big question mark. But then a lot of actors are seeing handwriting on the wall. Jessica Lange, an Academy Award-winning actress, she does American Horror Story. Kathy Bates, she's also part of that. So a lot of solidified Oscar-winning actors are going to TV on cable, thanks to Netflix and HBO and everything like that. So that's kind of curious. Would Jason Statham take over as a villain for Bullseye? And he said himself in a lot of interviews, he was not particularly interested in playing a villain. Well, because 1 or 2 other movies he did, and he got franchised Fast and Furious. He's a bad guy over there already. So why would he need Bullseye? And he does get a cut out of that. He said that on the Tonight Show. So yeah, I made a lot of money. So did I. He said it himself. And of course, he lived at the end. So he's going to be either number 8 or number 9. The reason I'm saying that is because for number 8, the other actor, I forget his name, who plays his brother, he's already under contract to do another Fast and the Furious. So automatically we know he's coming back. Will Jason Statham come back for this movie, or they're going to make him wait for number 9? It depends how he gets out of that prison cell that they put him in. So that should be interesting. Now, here's the other thing. Will Spy really be that funny? And the main reason I'm saying about that is because a lot depends for director Paul Weig. Paul Weig, I believe that's his name. And the problem with that is him and Melissa are getting together to do Ghostbusters. And a lot of people are not happy with Ghostbusters being an all-female cast. Look, as long as it's funny, and the way I look at it is like, you got a problem with 4 women remaking Ghostbusters. Did anybody see Ghostbusters number 2? That was horrible. Can it be any worse? And they got 4 funny comedians doing it, so maybe that would be an upgrade. But everybody's looking at the Paul Weig and see how good this movie is going to do. If he tanks on this one, maybe Ghostbusters, the studio might just pull the plug. And they've been doing that lately, thanks to Tomorrowland. Okay, let's talk about the big bomb of the year so far, Tomorrowland. They spent over 150 million, and it tanked. And it's not even doing anything internationally. Internationally, can't save it because there was a little twist at the end that maybe we can revisit Tomorrowland for a sequel. That's not going to happen. Disney, the Mighty Mouse there is not happy. The House of Mouse. The movie's not even going to clear 200 million. That's what it costs to make plus marketing. So international box office doesn't even care about this. And when that happens, that killed the franchise. But what happened with that, because Disney depends on so much on the animated movies, what happened with that was Tron 3 got canceled thanks to Tomorrowland. They don't want to spend any more money on a live action picture. They had John Carter for Mars. That tanked. The same director, Brad Bird, who directed directed this one. So they don't care who's going to direct Tron 3. They just want to take any chances with a live action picture. Now, of course, you heard they're going to be remaking Jungle Book and a bunch of other ones, but those are already based on CGI of property that's already been done. Okay, animation. They're going to remake it in animation and part live action. They just don't want to do a total live action film. Tomorrowland just ruined it for everybody, and it ruined it for Tron 3. They just canceled that. So thanks to Tomorrowland, we Tron fans are not going to get a wish of having a third sequel, which really sucks. But that's the way that thing works. Now, one thing I did do, I said on my radio show, like I said, this is going to be a repeat. And one thing I started and didn't finish is my top 10, or should I say top 5 lists of different categories of some of my favorite films. Okay, I started with disaster movies, so I'm going to continue with that because San Andreas is doing really good at the box office. It's making over 100 million. A little picture that only cost maybe about 60 million. I mean, it looked like a more expensive picture, and it's doing great overseas. So the Rock has a hit, and compared to Tomorrowland, which is a big embarrassing, and San Andreas is doing pretty good. So let me do my top 5 list of my favorite disaster movies. Okay, so I didn't bring the DVD with me because I wanted to show Earthquake, but here's an old classic picture. Now, the first picture, I put up a from JoeBlow.com. They had the top 10 favorite disaster movies, and they really screwed up because they left the biggest picture of all time. Back in 1972, it was called The Poseidon Adventure. Okay, Gene Hackman, Agnes Bongnine, Leslie Nielsen from Naked Gun fame. Before he became a comedian, he was the captain of the Poseidon Adventure, of the SS Poseidon, excuse me. That's the one that started the whole genre of movies, which actually started with Airport, 1970. There was Airport 75, then Airport 77. But Airport was like the grandmother of disaster pictures. Irwin Allen, the producer, who used to produce Lost in Space and Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, and he did a movie called The Lost World. Does anybody remember that? Back in 1964. And as a matter of fact, one of the actors in that movie, look this up on IMDb. Every time I mention a movie, type in IMDb, folks, if I get to mention that at the top of the show. It was called The Lost World back in 1964. Okay, and what was his name? I think Henderson. He's the actor who played The Fly with Vincent Price. Okay, and he was the captain of the Seaview, Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, Irwin Island production. So Irwin Island took a spin-off airport and said, you know what, instead of doing an airplane, let me do it on a ship. That became the Poseidon Adventure, which is my number one. Number two is the Towering Inferno. That starred, should I say, Paul Newman and Steve McQueen. I believe that came out in 1974. Okay, and in 75, Earthquake, which starred Charlton Heston, George Kennedy. He's the one. Spigoli, I believe his name was. He's the guy. He was the engineer in the airport movies. Okay, and that's what San Andreas is based on. Another reason I pulled this out, because does anyone remember Battlestar Galactica? That just came out in the box set of Blu-ray. And the first time the aliens attacked Earth, those scenes were taken from this movie. And you can tell because one of the main features was the Capitol building in LA. I don't know if you can see it. Well, it's right in this little corner here. Let's see. Can you see that? That's the Capitol building. That was the famous home. Yeah, see, if it says Capitol Records, yeah, that was the home base for the Beatles and a lot of rock groups back in the 60s and the 70s, because record companies don't exist anymore. They're just basically all corporations. But this scene, this total destruction, they put it in Battlestar Galactica. It's the same exact scene. They just took it from this movie because they're both owned by Universal. So I figured I'd show you that. So look at the Battlestar Galactica and look at Earthquake. You will see the same exact scene. The only difference is they put the spaceships in attacking LA. But San Andreas is based on this movie, Earthquake. Okay, round it off. Titanic, and of course, Airport. Those are my top 5. Now, we ran out of time. Something I want to do series, because a lot of these actors happen to be, and they do a lot of crossovers. And you might say, what does this have to do with Jurassic World? Well, okay, here's a movie I want to put out. A Bridge Too Far. Now, we went out of time Memorial Day weekend, okay? So I want to just retrack a little bit. Number 1 movie is The Longest Day, about the landing of Normandy Beach, okay? That was the big turnaround when they landed right on the front steps in Germany, okay? Most of you probably know that as Saving Private Ryan. The problem with Saving Private Ryan, even to the landing of the Normandy Beach, the beginning of the first half hour of the movie, is true. The rest of the movie is not. It's a what if kind of scenario. They had to find Private Ryan. That was based on a true story about the Sullivan brothers. The Sullivan brothers were 5 seamen on or sailors, should I say, on a battleship, which got attacked, and all 5 brothers drowned. And the Navy decided, and along with the other Army, the other reserve, decided never put all the brothers in the same location. Okay, and from that point on, in World War II, they decided if there's brothers joining, make sure they're all in separate units, not all together in one spot. Okay, and so Steven Spielberg took that idea, producer of Jurassic World. He took that idea and said, let's make believe. These soldiers have to go and find Ryan because he's the only one left because all the other brothers died. So that's what that based on. And he did an excellent reproduction of landing Normandy. The picture is called The Longest Day. John Wayne, Robert Mitchum, all the old classic film stars. 3-hour black and white movie. That's the one I recommend. The next one will be Tora Tora Tora, about the attacking of Pearl Harbor. Done in documentary style. And I was done in production with the Japanese government at that particular time. Back in 1969, the film got released in 1970. And I'm not talking about Michael Bay's Pearl Harbor, because as much as detail he wanted to get, those 2 guys having the love affair with the woman there, none of that ever existed. Okay, they got that idea from Titanic. That was the big deal at the end, She's with they all fought there, and she's in love with Jack, and that part also did not exist in Titanic. But that's what the way movies are. They take an actual thing and they put somebody, somebody who it didn't exist, and they put them in a movie, so the audience can relate and focus on that one individual. It never exists in real life. Tora Tora Tora, 1970. Again, look it up on IMDb. Classic film about the attacking of Pearl Harbor. The next one, The Great Escape. I'm getting into it, folks. Hold on, I'm getting to it. The Great Escape, Steve McQueen, James Gardner, also based on the true story. They got 80% of this right, except for Steve McQueen being chased by drummers on a motorcycle. That didn't happen, but that's okay. This had a very young Richard Attenborough. Yes, a professor from Jurassic World. Jurassic Park. Okay, this is one of the starring bits, and he was a supporting actor that tried to escape. It's based on, they made 3 tunnels called Tom, Dick, and Harry underground. True story, and they somehow they managed to get about 75, 80 prisoners managed to escape before they got found out. Unfortunately, 75 all were got found. They were put in the truck. The truck went up to the hill, and they told to take a break, walk, stretch, take a breath of fresh air, get out of the trucks, stand on the hill. They all got machine gunned down. True story. Richard Attenborough was one of the actors portraying that. Okay, and the next one is A Bridge Too Far. Another based on real life story. Another attack in Germany behind the lines. And they tried to take all these individual bridges, and they were one bridge short, and most of them got caught. This cast is like James Caan, Michael Caine, Sean Connery, Gene Hackman, Anthony Hopkins. If you don't know these names, you should look this up in IMDb. You call yourself a movie man? Shame on you. Robert Redford, Ryan O'Neal. And who directed this? Sir Richard Attenborough. That's right. He directed this back in the early 1970s. And he got a nod. This was not a big blockbuster, unfortunately. It didn't do very good at the box office. But he was given another chance to do Gandhi, which he did win an Academy Award. And one of his last stints was doing Jurassic Park. So that's my little tribute there. I was going to get to Westerns, but running out of time. But talk about Spielberg, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Right, and anybody see Spielberg and Chris Pratt last night when they hosted the embassy premiere of Jurassic World? No, I keep saying Jurassic World, I mean Jurassic Park. Okay, this big guy is kind of confusing me. He's distracting me here. Jurassic Park, and what you call it? Spielberg did the introduction, and of course, remember that little picture he did called "Close Encounters of the Third Kind." If you want to know where he got a lot of those shots from, and you should recognize this here, the Devil's Tower, right in the bottom corner. That is, I don't know, can we zoom in on that maybe? Yeah. This is John Wayne Associates, considered one of the biggest all-time classic westerns. And that is the Devil's Tower. Instead of John Wayne, just imagine the mothership going around in circles here. When he wrote the script, he based a lot of it on this here. Remember what they say, you can take any western and make it into science fiction. Where do you think Star Wars came from? Okay, George Lucas couldn't sell Star Wars to anybody. Nobody was interested. Why he came up with Star Wars? Because he couldn't get the rights to do Flash Gordon. So I said, okay, let me make up my own thing. And of course, he ripped off the Japanese movie Hidden Fortress. So Japanese influence, which got turned into a sci-fi, because Hidden Fortress was Japanese, just like Seven Samurai, which got made into a western called The Magnificent Seven. Now, George Lucas decided, let me call it Star Wars, since I can't get Flash Gordon, and try to rip off everything under the sun. And he went to Alan Ladd Jr. And who? Well, he was a studio executive. Well, he grew up on movie sets. Why? Because his father, Senior, Alan Ladd Senior, was a big star before John Wayne. He was huge. He was an action western star back in the 30s and 40s. So his son grew up with all that. Being on movie sets and cowboys and Indians and everything like that. So when Lucas came to him, it's like, well, this is Princess, and this is Darth Vader dude, and Alan Ladd Jr., oh, I get it. It's cowboys and Indians and outer space. Same thing, Gene Roddenberry. He was trying to sell his Star Trek at that time. And he needed a pitch. It's like, well, how would I explain to you on this? Oh, is Wagon Train in the Stars? Wagon Train was a huge CBS property, a TV show back in the 60s. Just think of it like Big Bang Theory. You always hear the ratings always like, 20 million people went to see the TV show. Well, that's what Wagon Train was. I mean, everybody followed Wagon Train. Practically everybody on the Star Trek TV show made a cameo on Western. So that's why Roddenberry had no choice to say So I Can Train in the Stars, and he got greenlit. Again, science fiction with Western go hand in hand. I remember one guy. Shall we say he was a friend, and he said, Westerns are dumb. Never worked with him again. Like I said, Westerns always go hand in hand with science fiction. But if you want to see how Spielberg does a lot of his camera work on all these movies, this is like one of his blueprints. John Wayne the Searchers. The other one, World War II movie, which I forgot to mention, was The Bridge on River Kwai. David Lean. He's a big guy in David Lean movies. David Lean also did Dr. Zhivago. A lot of old stuff I figured I mentioned in here. Like I said, this is kind of like a greatest hits show, part one, because this show will be repeated when I'm not here. And did I leave one out? The last but not least, The Dirty Dozen, based on the Filthy 13. Well, a bunch of POWs ready to be executed and said, we're going to do one more service to you for your nation, for your country, and you're going to go behind enemy lines, the Germans again, and knock down this fortress kind of thing, which is actually based on Filthy 13, as far as the documents goes. But that's my wrap-up of the show. I got about a minute left. If we can show that, let's go to the blog. We can bring that. That's a Godzilla community site. Don't forget to join. You have to join G+, Google+, to get to that community. There goes the button, join community. Don't forget that. And that's the blog. Now, if you want to get to the website, there's a link right on top of the page. Those widgets are all the shows. That's my daily blog. That's Hellboy number 3. That's right. He's trying to get the original Hellboy. He's trying to get number 3 started. He started this whole campaign online. So hopefully that will happen. See, that's the latest news. Now, this kind of news I'll be talking about on my Blog Talk radio show. That's a half-hour show. And Talk Show Radio, where I'm going to be inviting everybody to call in, and the chat room will be open. I got a promo playing there right now. That's what's happening with that. And everybody asks me, what's with that music show? That's me and another gentleman, Steve. He's got his own studio in Brooklyn, and right now we're currently writing original music, and I'm making my first album. My first solo album, should I say. So I'm getting back into the music thing. Before I got into this 25 years, I used to be a musician in the band, blah, blah, blah. Got into video. Now I'm going back to my music. Soon that's going to be coming up in July. So that's what everything's happening. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting. And you'll be hearing me on those Talk Show radios shows. And we'll see you in 2 weeks. Later.